Welcome back to another episode of Athena's Listening Crew. I'm Renee,
And
and
I'm
with
Lina.
there you go. And we're back on this gorgeous, beautiful, rainy day. And I know those in the Northwest are like, ugh. Us in the Southwest are like, oh, look, rain. It's rain.
Yes, because it's hydration. It's like hydrating all of us.
Yes,
So
and my
dry.
yes, my hair started getting a little bit curly again, and my face is not so dry. Like it's this whole week, it's been great. So.
Yes, yes, we embrace the rain because it really is a gift. So,
So, all right. So, well, how you have you been this past week?
it's been a little bit of a challenging week.
Hmm.
Just some unexpected, regular life stuff, car repairs,
Ugh.
just
Hmm.
unexpected expenses. But I just breathed through it and allowed myself to get upset. But yeah. And what came out though, it's fixed and it's fixed earlier than expected. So
Really
I'm really happy
nice.
about that. Yeah. So I don't
Yes,
have, yeah, I could go pick it up today. How was yours?
it was good. I last weekend, the Tempe Library actually does like once or twice a year. It does this like writer in residence. So if like I'm a wannabe, what do I call myself? I'm a wannabe amateur writer. So I actually went and I love these. Like they bring in a writer for like six courses, like twice a month for like these courses type of things, and it's free for us. And because they found funding for it, and they come in and they teach you all about writing, and every writer is different on how they teach things. So it's you learn really cool things. And I think that really just helped because that just gave me a chance this past weekend, to kind of just relax a little bit and focus on my creativity. Because when it comes to the business and work and everything, it's all like left brain, let's get this done and outline everything. So, and I think it actually was really beneficial because when I went into this week, something that I have been struggling with my business, all of a sudden, poof, it became clear. And I was like, why didn't this just happen earlier? But I think I just had to have that weekend where I just kind of let everything go.
Yeah.
And then everything just came into focus this week. So I'm back on a roll again, which is great. Got over that little hurdle that I don't know why it was there, but I got over it.
Well,
So it's
you
been a good
moved
week for
through
me.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Because that I think will take us lovely into just into this transition of where you're talking about how you just came up against a hurdle and you moved
Hmm.
through it and you kept at it and boom. And that's what our episode is today on really real talk on why she hesitates, like or
Hmm.
what's the resistance, what's going on and moving through it. And as you know, like especially with starting a business or already having a business, but you want it to grow and you're trying to push through it and get over those obstacles you come through, whatever it is. It's from the marketing side, or you're just trying to continue to design your website and get all the things in order and or get more clients and just kind of this episode is gonna be like just more of a reflection on maybe sitting back, what's going on, like reevaluating what is this this stuckness or this resistance that I'm feeling
Hmm.
and what's going on here.
And like, what is the internal and external pressures that affect
Yes,
like the woman's willingness to start and scale a business as well? So it's that
exactly.
internal and external pressures that we may be facing and not realizing they're there.
Right. Yes. And so a lot of times, pretty probably a lot of people can relate to this. Sometimes self-doubt creeps in.
Hmm.
You start questioning yourself. You start the what I call my little team of saboteurs start like having a party in one of the rooms, like in my body,
Hmm.
being the judge, being the ringleader of the whole thing. So it's like, who am I to be doing this? Um, like who am I to take up this space? Like who am I? Like what do I have to offer? Like why is this happening? Like you know, and we start those kind of little judgments start coming in because with the frustration, when you start feeling frustrated or the negative self-talk starts creeping in, that is like cocaine for the self-saboteurs to just come
Hmm.
in and just run amok. many women might think that what they're doing is maybe, is this just a hobby? And I'm trying to make a business out of it. Like, who am I to think anyone else is going to be interested, or what am I going to be contributing with this? Um,
Yeah, and I
and
love that.
yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to
no,
interrupt
go
you, but
ahead.
I love the whole like also who am I to charge this much for it? And I love
Yeah.
bringing that up because you called me out on that one. Like when I was processing some things because I was revamping the business and I was talking about how much to charge. And first that look that came across your face and you're like, why are you charging so little for everything that you do and all the expertise that you're bringing to the table? And I was like, and I just stunned me. I was like, oh. And I think that's a very common thing as women. We tend to undervalue what we're bringing to the table because we don't believe it's as great as it really is what we bring.
Absolutely. You are a licensed, therapist,
Hmm.
and you have 20 years, so over 2 decades of experience behind you. And not only are you a licensed therapist, but you're a certified nutritionist. You are a personal trainer. These are all like very qualified aspects, about you. And yeah, when you quoted your price and questioning it, I'm like, wait a minute. For a personal trainer alone, charges that much. But you're gonna bring two other quality, like major things into it. Like a dietitian alone charges that much. A
Hmm.
therapist charges more than that. So, from my experience, and I'm pretty sure I have a lot of people who can back me up on that. And yeah, and it's like, no, Renee, you are so worth way more than that, because also you're bringing your best self forward and intention, because you just genuinely, you are an empath and you just really want to help people, and you get so excited. I hear you speak. I mean, you don't tell me, you don't break any confidentiality with me. So I want to make that clear. But just the general ambiance when you come see me and you're having a good day with some clients, it shows. And
Well,
so, yeah, it's a, what you do is hard and it transforms people. So know your worth. Um,
thank you. I love that. Know your worth.
yes, because men, statistically speaking, like when they feel about 60% confident, ready to, launch a product or their skill set or whatever it is that they want to pursue in entrepreneurship, they go for it. And statistics have shown women typically wait until they're 100% ready, which, okay, real talk, when are we all really 100% ready? That would be never. So
You
it rarely happens. Yeah.
So I was watching TV, was it a while ago, and a commercial came on, and I think it's not NBCC. It's okay, because no, that was the counseling thing I was just dealing with. CNB something something. Um, they have this new series out, and they're talking to like CEOs, the top leaders of these big companies, and just about their journey. And there was this one man up there, and I don't remember who he worked for, but his response is, "You gotta fake it till you make it." And that just falls in line with that. You're not 100% ready, but you just jump in and you just start going, and then it will
Mhm.
all come together once you're there, like once you get going.
Yeah.
So,
And and while you're faking it to make it, it's it's there because other people believe in you. Maybe it's your self-doubt, but it's
mhm.
it's like other people do believe in you, and they will come to you. When you are being true and authentic about the thing that you have created a business around, people will gravitate toward that. And hopefully then that then converts that fake it till you make it
Hmm.
feeling to, oh, I am I am of value. Like I am giving something that these people want, and it's filling some part of their lives. And so you'll be surprised. Maybe you can't see it, but your efforts and the work you put into it and the love and the energy, it will come to fruition. I wholeheartedly believe it. I've witnessed it. I mean, probably seen it too, Renee.
Hmm.
And even in here in Arizona, once I got out of the military and I started exploring this, people creating the thing that they love to do and making it into a living, um, I've just watched him over the course of 6 years just grow. And we will be interviewing, this one person I know in particular, and I just watched her business thrive. And what's beautiful is about it is every step of the way, she's never seemed to have lost her intention of why she's doing what she's doing. And it's beautiful to see someone grow in their self-worth and really believe it because it just emanates out and it
Hmm.
actually inspires. You wind up inspiring other people. And in this genre that we're speaking to, other women to do their thing too. So,
Yeah, I'm so
yeah,
looking
don't,
forward to that interview too with her too.
yeah.
So nice. Yeah, and it goes back to, we've talked about before and we just mentioned how women have to feel 100% ready, but we are
Mhm.
also that perfectionist. If it's not perfect, then we don't want like there's that fear of judgment and it disappointing others if it's not 100% perfect. And I know women do this in motherhood. I hear this all the time is having to be perfect, and there is no such thing as perfectionism. But, as I say this, we also, the last couple weeks, Lena has been dealing with me and my pressure on myself for things to sound perfect, to have a certain perfect thing, which is increasing my anxiety, which is messing with my nervous system. So I've had to work through all this myself, even though I preach this to all my clients, like the perfection is just not a thing. You just got to go and it will work out. And so I always have to check myself. And Lena's checking me as well. Like, slow your roll, calm down. Everything is going to be fine. Everything sounds great. We've got this. Like, and just I just love having that support system, someone to like a sounding board to also bounce all this out off helps with all this, makes you kind of just check in with yourself, like, okay, yes, I'm putting too much pressure on myself. Okay, yes, I'm doing just fine. Like it helps to check in with yourself. So,
Absolutely. And I love our partnership because I am not, yes, I am like calm, but I can get a bit too docile. So, Renee, you are fabulous at, okay, there has to be a structure. Like we got to write something out and let's talk about the details. And that's what I love about you is you're very grounding for me because I can be flighty and just be like, "Oh, it's all great and yeah, whatever." And you bring it down and especially with businesses, you need sound logistics, you need a plan, you need all these things. You can't float on a cloud and expect all to know. So, I think our partnership is really great because you help me have to sit down and think and critically think and write stuff out, write stuff down, not just kind of float with a thought and, um, you know, wing it. So I think we balance each other out, hopefully.
we do. We had the same goal in mind, but we bring these different traits and strengths together. So what's that saying? We complete each other. Like,
Yeah, and
so.
you think of more expansive. I
Hmm.
tend to come in, sometimes I get focused on one thing and then I'm on that path. And you're like, "Hold on, wait a minute." And I'll bring up our conversation about when we talk about women in business and you pointed something out to me and said, "Lina, you said women in small business. Should we really just limit ourselves to that?" Or because I would love to reach out to women who's made it really like in the
Hmm.
corporate sector. So you brought a different perspective in because I'm thinking, I didn't mean to say like small, tiny business. I'm just thinking of, I guess, when you corporate, because I
Hmm.
feel like corporate can be so overwhelming. Like it's so, for me, it just was like unrelatable because I didn't even get started yet.
Yeah.
So for me, that was there's my resistance or hesitation in trying to launch my own thing because I'm like, oh God, I can't, that's huge. Like I'm not that person. Um, so I was making it small for me because it felt comfortable. Small business, like that seemed doable. And But then I get what you were saying. It's like, why are we limited? We want to be inclusive. We want to reach out to, and let's say it, we want to interview as many business women as we can who've launched, became founders, and it whether it stayed however they wanted to stay or they wanted to blow it up nationally, internationally, we want to really cover all of them and get all their different perspectives
Hmm.
and their wisdom and what their experiences are. So yeah, you tend to open my viewpoint.
Yeah, and that was really interesting because that's actually going to be another podcast episode for us, and we're going to be talking about perspective because that was part of that conversation, how we were perceiving like we're defining what a small business was, and so we're like, "Ooh, hey, this is going to be another episode," so we're going to come back to that in another
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
But I think what it was too is like for me, the way I was viewing is that I love being around women who are better than I am. Like, because there's that aspiration aspect, someone that will help improve. And I've learned this years ago in high school when I was playing tennis. I only got better when I was playing against people who were better than me. And so
Mhm.
when it comes in the real world, women in business, I want someone who's better at doing some of these things so I can do that. Oh, I can move up that direction and I can learn from them and improve myself. And so that's the aspect I was taking as well.
And that makes so much sense. Another thing that, for those of us that maybe, I'll take my experience from example. It's taking me a whole 4 years to really just explore my own self, like who I am. Because at that point, my children grew up and they left the house. I left the military, and that was my whole identity.
Hmm.
And whether I liked it or not, it really was. And I didn't know how much of it I allowed an institution to consume me. And I really did lose a sense of self. And I really didn't think I have anything to offer until I started exploring. Because I've had people tell me, I'd be lying if I said no one's ever told me that I can be this, that, or the other. No, I've had people tell me and point some things out to me that were positive. And why do I not pursue that? And so it was me that was holding me back because I didn't think I helped, because I measured my standard against a male dominant industry.
Hmm.
And
Definitely.
and I felt like because I was viewed as a mom. And
Hmm.
so, and the way they used it was a negative connotation. And I probably mentioned this in our previous episode. But when I took a step back and I noticed that I have pretty good listening skills and I could hear people and I could hold people's spaces and I can really see who they are and I could take the experiences I've had, and that helped me with the lack of judgment piece of really anyway the components of that. And so but I had to like step into myself and
Hmm.
listen to myself first, and that's when I can see like, okay, I'm hesitant to do this and this is the reason why, and well, let's work on it. And as you work on yourself through that, you'll notice, like, I've noticed just you start thinking outside the box, the creative juices starts flowing. You can experiment when you alleviate or work on that fear of failure. Because it's how many of us, if we led a perfect life, if everything worked out so perfectly, what is there to learn?
Hmm.
What do we learn from it?
Definitely.
But it's through mistakes, right? It's anything, any successful person, any successful thing that happened, I get there's always been mistakes involved. And we
Hmm.
talked about all the goofy names or goofy names
Yes.
that these great companies have and what they came up with before. So, it's data. Failure is rarely fatal. It's just data.
Hang
And
on a second.
so
Can you hear me right now?
yes,
I can't hear you anymore, and you froze up on me. There we go. All
do
right,
that.
we're back. Okay. So there was a slight glitch there. It's raining, so I don't know if
Yes.
you guys can hear it, but if you guys start hearing some background noise, I live tiny, so when it starts to rain, you can hear it all. But so it's been raining, so that nice little storm coming through.
Yes, and then
Anyways,
on this side,
and
my audio tends to cut out and I freeze, and I don't know it until Renee tells me. So
it just
sorry,
goes back to
guys.
that perfectionism, right? Like things are not going to be perfect. And if you stress over perfect, I mean, there's going to be times these episodes are going to fly off without a hitch. They're going to be great. But every so often we have that, and we have a learning episode here, right? But that we're like, hey, let's learn from this. Not necessarily a mistake, but that's how we grow. Is we learn by things we do, and that they just don't work out right. So we are work in progress, like everything
Yeah.
else, and we're just going to keep rolling with it, keep
Yeah,
going.
and I think I just ended it with, or before I froze up. Technically, I didn't freeze up personally, but that failure, the fear of failure, failure is just rarely fatal. It's just data. And so, what I really want to just say is that I just had to just kind of explore and then name the fear. And once I named the fear and acknowledged it, it became manageable. It became then like a tasking list, like, okay, I have this fear, that fear, because then I released it from being so paralyzed in it and I began to move through it. And so that's when then the curiosity sets in and the willingness to learn about the thing you're interested in. So then it becomes those stepping stones, and then you'll be surprised or amused even some of the doors that starts opening for you. So
Hmm.
that's all I wanted to share on that regard.
And then
But
I also kind of wanted to bring up a little bit more of like the external resistance. We've talked a lot. There's a lot of
hmm
our resistance do come from within, but then we also have the external resistance, and obviously there is one that Lena and I are up against, like getting the internet service since we work off of Wi-Fi. I live in a travel trailer, so it's not the greatest sound. And, and okay, here's the thing also. So you also have to think outside the box because one of the resistance I was working on was practicing on a podcast that I wanted to do, but I wanted to do a shared screen. So I had to have a second monitor. And so I had to play around with my two laptops, and that does not work. And then the monitor I have is actually at my parents' house because I live so tiny, there's no space here. So I had to think outside the box. And luckily, I had an HDMI cable long enough to the other side of the trailer that connected to the TV. So I did that off of the TV, which I was like, okay, we're thinking outside the box. And so I was split screen with the TV on the other side of the trailer, which was like the funniest thing. So we do run into resistance, like also not just like the way, like your house, like home house, that how you're living, but also being a primary caregiver and then a leader at the same time. You're running into that double burden too, and that can kind of be a resistance. And so you tend to start to burn out. So you'll want to drop a business. And so that tends like especially if you got kids, right? Lena, you went through this working with the kids. You talked about having those two roles and trying to also change that mindset into who you are now, because and the military is a huge identity. And then you add parenthood on top, which is a second huge identity to that. And that could lead to
hmm
burnout if you're trying to add something else
Absolutely,
into
because
it.
you're on 24/7. And all the moms out there know, or any caregiver, knows that there is no 9 to 5 with that. There is no endpoint. You're constantly on. So yes, there's a real also fear there of the time.
And then I,
And
I did a little research on this too, and I found a study from SoFi about one of the largest challenges women in business face is networking. And we kind of already brought that
mhm,
up, having that person that can counter that self-doubt that's in our head, having that sounding board. So that is a huge, from that study, a huge women run into as the external resistance. And then they also run into like lack of funding because
mhm.
male-owned businesses are more likely to get funding from the bank than women-owned businesses are. And so that lack of funding and the market saturation, those were some of the things that as a business owner, you're up against, as a woman business owner, you're up against.
Yeah, I've read somewhere too, especially in the tech industry,
Hmm.
the venture, capitalists, they tend to lean toward men heavily. And
Hmm.
women just have to really, I mean, triple down into getting their voices heard and, have investors believe in their ability, to launch their own. if it's especially if it's in the tech industry.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so and then it's you know marketing yourself. It's all marketing yourself, right?
Hmm.
And putting yourself out there. And so yeah, a lot of external stuff that that can seem overwhelming for
Yeah.
sure.
And then, but how do you move through this resistance? You know?
Yeah. And it could be you called chunking, like taking small steps,
Hmm.
having to sit back and just try to take it all in. It's kind of like that New Year's resolution, that pressure we all put on ourselves. Day one, January 1st, we're going to do this, this, and this. No, and then we fall on January 2nd. But it's taking the small steps like that and one action toward an idea and whether that is, let me see okay, maybe I need to create a website. All right, what website builders are. So maybe taking that few moments to just explore that. Get your creative juices going. What do I want my logo to look like? What do,
Hmm.
just that fun stuff. And it just builds onto the next step and to the next step. And then you're building that momentum. It's like physical conditioning, right? We don't go and say, yeah, I'm going to sign up for a 10K, not doing nothing now, but I'm going to go run it tomorrow. That's not, you can probably, but it probably
I've known
hurt a
people who
little
do that.
bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've known people who do that and they hurt themselves. But
And it
anyways,
might
okay.
have to, there's some, but realistically, you like, okay, I'm going to do it 6 months down the line, whatever, wherever you're, what your shape you're in, and you're working towards that, right? You're building up toward it. And, and like you said, Renee, start looking into support systems. I mean, what groups are out there? What your neighbor, a coworker, you and I, we just start
Hmm.
talking to each other at work and just start building from there and seeing and expanding out, talking to people who are in the industry that you are looking to get into to open up a business in and see what their experiences were. I'm going into therapeutic coaching. And so that kind of falls under the big coaching umbrella. And what I was given advice by therapists and those who do coaching and kind of and do their own practice is they're like talk to other people that have their own practice and there's your starting point. What did they do? Just
Yeah.
some of this stuff.
And you've got to know that like confidence is not a requirement for this to go into it. Don't, and that goes back to the perfectionist. We feel like we have to be confident. We know what we're doing in order to start, but confidence is more the result of it. And it was really interesting thinking about that statement because I didn't realize how much I knew about business until I met Lina and how thinking about it, it was I'm more confident because she was Lina, she's learning how to start. This is her first business. She's learning to grow it, like what she needs to, and I'm just spouting stuff off like, oh, you just do this, this, and this, and I just move on like it's nothing. And I'm like, oh, because I have the confidence. I knew that, but I didn't realize that I knew everything I knew until I was talking to someone else. So the confidence is the result of you just get in there, get moving. You will start becoming more and more confident as you go through this.
You'd be amazed, just like Renee is. When I was like, what's that? Wait, what's that? And you're just spouting it off like it's a whole nother language. And I was like, wait. And so someone comes to ask you quick questions, and you realizing, look at all the knowledge you already know.
Hmm.
Go with what you know. Like you already know it and you're building from there. So you already have it. You already have it here and you have the intention here. And that's all you're doing. You already have the foundation. And so give yourself the grace and, for that because it's amazing. And you have a bunch of people like me who will be a consumer. And because once I believe in somebody or the thing that they have or the service that they're providing, and I am a loyalist, like in that regard.
Hmm.
I will follow you. I will be your forever customer. And there's a lot of people like me out there. So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
then moving on, like challenge those negative thoughts, challenge those anxious thoughts that you have in your head. Like, and especially when it comes to anxiety, like someone who's had it for decades, I know with anxiety, we can justify any anxious thought because we're like, hey, that really did happen, right? That happened like a couple decades ago to my best friend's brother's cousin kind of thing, right? So because it's happened once, we can always justify it, or we have that self doubt, that negative thought in our head because as human, for some reason, human beings, it is easier for us to believe the negative of ourselves instead of the positive of ourselves. So really challenging that, asking, why are you scared? Lena, you kind of brought this up earlier. Why, where's this coming from? Name the fear. You kind of brought that up before. And once we kind of realize where it's coming from, things become more manageable. And I also realized talking with others who feel the same way actually reduces the stress, the anxiety around it, the pressures
Mhm.
that we put on ourselves, because then we realize we're not the only ones. And when you realize you're not the only one dealing with it, it doesn't seem so hard because when we feel like we're the only ones, we that just puts more pressure on us. And no, that's why we started this because a lot of the times when you're working from home, like you own your own business, you're working and like you don't see anyone else. So it starts to feel like you're the only ones dealing with this. And so talking to others, listening to others really kind of just helps you realize, hey, actually, no, I'm doing great. Let me give myself some kudos, give myself some grace. I'm moving forward. This is awesome. So,
Yeah. We have this wonderful thing called the gut, especially with women. I'm sorry, guys, but especially with women, because don't we create? Like we have the ability, we have a womb, we have the ability to create, we have all this women parts, right?
hmm
And our babies, for those of us that that had babies or having babies, there's a whole human being getting created in there. So don't take your gut for granted. It does when you feeling and exploring yourself and seeing the external and the internal things that are happening and challenges that come up. How many times do we hear it in the movies and TV shows? Cops say it. I mean, everybody just what happened? Like I just followed my gut. I just listened to my gut. Like so it's and there's something to be said about that when you can sit with it. And so that's also practicing that self-compassion. Okay, what's going on here? And because yes, Renee said it beautifully. It's like such self-negative talk because our old beliefs, the way maybe we've been raised, previous past, whatever. And so it's carved out a path. And now things are feeling a little bit, we're shifting. So it's going to get a little uncomfortable. But you're carving out this new path that's going to allow all your creative juices, your talents, the gifts that you have to create that. And yeah, so listen to yourself and separate failure, that data, from self-worth because
definitely.
failure does not define you. It's just mistakes. And we all learn from mistakes. It's teaching us something. So it's a teacher.
hmm
But it has nothing to do with your self-worth.
Yeah. Side note, I don't know if you guys can all hear that. All the fighter jets seem to be wanting to take off just in the last like
You
20
know what,
minutes.
Renee?
And
It's
with the
Friday
low,
the 13th. We're
oh,
recording
is
this. It's
it?
Friday the 13th.
It
Yes.
is. Guess what I'm
So
watching tonight?
anyone who's listening out there, that's what today is. You're going to be coming
That
across all
explains
these
everything.
things.
But with the low cloud coverage, I mean, and I love listening to the fighter jets take off, right?
Yeah.
And with the low cloud coverage, it's even louder. So it's like, and sometimes my trailer will like rattle a little bit, and I love the fighter jets, right? But um, and I love the deep sounds. I think that's why I'm a Chinook. Like I love my Chinooks. Like when I was working on Joint Base Lewis McChord, there was tons of Chinooks there. My office was right next to the field. I'm like,
It is
all right,
beautiful. I got to ride in those in
did you?
Korea
Yeah.
because, oh my gosh, it was an opportunity to go onto a mountain and dig up some old equipment or whatever it was. I
hmm
didn't care. My uniform got tore up because we had to deal with chicken wire. But it was so worth riding the Chinook, getting landed onto a mountain, and then getting picked up by one. Like it was one of the best days.
That is like my dream. I would love to be able to
Yeah.
get in a Chinook, which I will never will because I'm
It's
a
so
civilian.
open
But
and freeing. Yeah, it's so great. It really is like that cliche, like sound of freedom. Like I actually felt it for a minute there. So yeah, sorry guys.
All
Sorry, a
right,
little
we
bit.
digress. All right. Oh, another digress too, because when I was living in Washington, was that we went hiking out by Mount Rainier, and we were like in the middle of the woods. We got into this, and anyone who knows Washington knows like there's not a lot of openings in the forest to see the sky because it's thick, the tall trees, it's thick. We got into this opening, and just as we got into this one little opening, a Chinook flew over just right over the top of the trees. And I was like,
Mhm.
ah, this couldn't get any better than this. Like it was just like my Zen moment that I embraced it. Like, so anyways, all right, we digress.
Ooh,
All
that
right.
sounds like self-empowerment to me there, Renee.
There you go. All right, just to kind of wrap this up,
Yeah.
um, really just it was said earlier in this episode by Lina, taking one step a day, when you're hitting resistance, taking that just one step and building, this is a really good point, just building some external and internal like safety nets. So, and I know a lot of women have done this and probably men too, but when you're starting a business, sometimes you'll have still have your full-time job while you're starting the business on the side. And as you start to grow that, and that's kind of, you're building a savings, right? Because you're still working,
Mhm.
you're building up that savings. And then when you get ready just to jump, you've got that savings behind you because you're going to have this little lull for a while. And so that way, that will just reduce some pressure, some stress, and give you a little bit of that cushion. And then also, like Lena, you build up your safety, your support system, find a mentor. I'm all about a fallback plan. The one thing I have learned from life and working and definitely working with the military, especially every military spouse will tell you this, you have to have contingency plans
Mhm.
because just because they're going to be deployed or PCSed on the state doesn't mean that's actually going to happen. So things changed at the last minute, and really that happens in life, right? So,
Mhm.
kind of have a fallback plan you want to have, but that what if, so if you need to pivot, you know how to pivot and what direction you
Mhm.
want to pivot if the time comes for that.
Yeah, so being
Yeah.
flexible.
Mm-hmm.
And just want to hone the last thing message about hesitation, resistance, and fear, because it's not about eliminating the fear. Like that's to sit and wait to eliminate the fear. The fear is there to protect you, but it is about just working on increasing, the clarity of what it is you want to do, how you want to go about it, and reducing that catastrophic thinking, right? And just then knowing who you are, what you want to do, and with that intention, and then aligning the venture with that, with all the advice that Renee said about then the logistics side, putting away some money, having a plan, and all of it is just be curious. There's so much to learn, but there's so many ways to learn the thing that you're
Mm-hmm.
curious about, and you already have the foundation. You're just building off of it. So well worth it. Yep. Believe in
Yes.
yourself. I do. Whoever you are.
We got you. We're all
Yeah.
here for you. So,
Okay.
all right. Well, thank you for sitting through this podcast with us through all
Yes.
the jet noises and the rain and all the fun stuff
The-
that makes life interesting, right?
yes.
So, and I know we've got some interviews coming up. I know that another episode that it's the non-interview episode, we're going to be talking about Business 101 again, just some basic things around that. So stay tuned for those. And if you guys have anything you guys want us to cover, please email us at athenaslisteningcrew@gmail.com. Or if you'd like to be interviewed, if you're a woman that owns a small business or owns a business, let me reframe that again, restate
Yeah.
that. Woman who owns a business and you would like to tell your story, email as well and give us your info.
Please, we will give you a whole hour to just tell your whole story. And because that's what we're here for. Okay.
Yes.
We want to
All
help you
right.
out. Thank
All
you guys.
right.
Bye.
Bye.